Pedro has already expressed. Okay, before I get started, raise your hand if you've ever had a dream. Show of hands. Okay, period. I love that. Raise your hands if you ever got a chance to live out one of your dreams. Sweet. Raise your hand if you ever quit one of your dreams. All right, yes. So tonight I'm going to be telling you a story about quitting my dream job. So I grew up a really imaginative child. I remember growing up with my friends. We would record our own movies in the basement and our own action films. It was definitely giving Tobi realness, but it was fun and we had a good time. We would go door to door in our neighborhood and sing and dance and get some money to go to the corner store. And even when I was by myself, I loved to just sit right in the mirror, play some music, and come up with my own music videos and dance and sing. I was that kind of child. But even as a kid, I was pretty shy and introverted. You can ask my family. With them, I was super outgoing, but outside of that, unlike Brooks, who's really outgoing, I was pretty shy to myself. Once I got into middle school and high school, I started to blossom some more, but as a kid, I was more quiet. And most people think people that are shy or introverted don't have too much going on. But one of my favorite things about being introverted was all of the imaginary stories and lives and dreams I got to share within myself. That just lived in my mind and in my heart and in my body that felt so real. And one of my biggest dreams, I was a big daydreamer, and one of my biggest dreams was to be a fashion designer in New York City. That was like so cool to me. And then when The Hills and Laguna Beach started to air, which was a show on MTV of these rich white kids that had a house for every season, you know, summer home, spring home, and fall home. It just felt so opposite of what I lived, but I always had, as they say, a passion for fashion. And I would love to go to the thrift store and kind of make my own things. And one year I got a bedazzle machine, so everything that year got a rhinestone. And I love to like cut my jean pants, turn it inside out and sew it and make a bag. And I even made this bag last year, but I continued to kind of do these things as I got older. So that little girl in me continued to grow and continued to have that zest for creation and just finding her own way. And as I got older, you know, middle school, high school, people start asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't have one title, a doctor, a lawyer, an artist even though that was another big dream. But I knew how I wanted to live. I knew the life experiences I wanted to have. And I knew like how I wanted to feel. To me, that was most important. And I trusted myself to know that I'll figure it out along the way. Again, I'm only 16, 17, 18. Why are you even asking me this? I'll figure it out. And so end of high school comes. I go off to school. And my passion for fashion continues to follow me. And when I look back over my 4 years in school, I designed 5 collections, and I ran the only 2 fashion clubs we had on campus. So obviously I started to see that this is something more than just a hobby. I actually really, really like this. And that young girl that's in me is continuing to grow her skill and her interest in this. And so at my school, companies would come to the school to recruit for interns. And all of the opportunities were pretty great, you know, banking, finance, no shade to nobody in the audience. But although I was minoring in business, I was also studying art and humanities, and I needed something a little bit more colorful. So when I found out that there was going to be this global fashion brand that was going to be recruiting at my school, I was so excited. So it was a program that you enter the summer going into your senior year. It was in New York City. It was paid, and they selected just a select few of the interns for an employment job. Excuse me, got a little nervous. An employment job. That's how excited it made me. I was like, I can't be reading this and really have an opportunity at it. And so I made a note to myself, this was like freshman year, that junior year I would apply. Junior year comes, I apply. And I don't remember too much of the interview, but I remember being just excited. Again, this was a dream, untouchable in my mind. So really to interview was the cherry on top. I was excited to just be in the space. And so some weeks pass, I don't hear anything back, and I get an email that says that I have been selected to be an intern. Yes, I was so excited, and it's still so hard for me to find the words to describe how excited I was. But when I thought about it, I said, it feels almost better than butter. And not too many things feel better than butter, or taste better than butter. But it felt that decadent and just exciting. I was so excited to move forward. And that summer comes around, I had just enough money saved up from working. My mom took me to Macy's and we got a blouse and a skirt and a dress, some slacks, and I remember getting some Nikes because I knew I would be walking around a lot in New York. And so snap my finger, I'm in New York and I'm living in Midtown. And I'm walking past Madison Square Garden every day, and I'm seeing all these landmarks in Soho and all these beautiful things that I just had saw on TV, like I said. And I'm really getting a chance to live my dream. And at the end of the program, we had a final presentation. And this was really big because, again, like I said, they select a couple folks to be employers or employees. And I kind of wanted that. I high-key wanted that. And so this is the last time for you to kind of present yourself in front of management of the whole company as well as the internship program. And so I remember being paired off in groups, and we had like a marketing prompt, and we did really well. And I felt really confident, and I was like, I'm going to leave it up, and we're going to see what happens. The internship ends, and I actually head upstate to another internship that was on a farm. So that was the range of my interests right there. And I start school in the fall again, and it's a regular day in the student center. I go to check my email, and my mouth drops to the ground. And I see an email that reads, Tobi Ewing, we are so excited to offer you a full-time position at Fashion Bread USA. I was out of my body. I swear I jumped to the roof and came back. I was so excited. Like, again, the internship was enough. So now that I get a chance to work for them, I was so excited. Fast forward, it's the summer of the job now. Now I'm working back in New York City, and I got me an apartment and figuring that out. And this company not only made beautiful clothes, but the clothes also, the style showed up in the offices. So I'm looking at velvet and leather walls day to day, marble countertops and chandeliers. And long gone are the days of working with Joann Fabric, which is what I would go to growing up, and Walmart when I was in school, because that's what I could afford. Now I'm touching genuine leathers and cashmeres and silks and feathers, all these beautiful things, and I'm working on collections. So these are the pieces that's going on the fashion week for spring and fall. So I'm doing all of this and getting to see it on the runway. I was like totally just out of myself. It was the best thing. I was so excited. So considering how excited I was and how big of a dream this was, you can only imagine how shocked I was to wake up one day and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, it felt that heavy in my stomach. I was like, no. It took me about 9 months to really figure out what I was feeling. You know, maybe I was having a bad day. Maybe my manager, I wasn't feeling her. Maybe I was just getting bored. But when I finally got to understanding it, even over some years, I realized I had outgrown the dream. And I had outgrown the environment. And it was a little earlier than I had expected. I only been working here for about 2-3 years. I thought, surely I'll be here for 8 or 10 years. This is my dream job. And a lot of people, once they got the job, they were set. So I kind of, even though that wasn't my style, I noticed I followed into that. So I said, I'm going to stay here. And that wasn't the case. And about a month before I put in my 2-week notice, the CEO of the company put in his resignation. Now this was a big deal because up until that point, only the founder had been the CEO. So there was a lot of pressure on this guy to really show up and show out. And he hadn't only been the CEO for maybe 8 or 9 months. And I realized I'm putting way too much pressure on myself to show up for these space, even show up for other things I was experiencing in life, to be more than what I needed to be and what I was called to move forward into. So I put in my resignation, all those fears about how I get a job and what would happen. This was my bread and butter. There wasn't a safety net. So it was a big deal to me. And almost 10 years since that moment and many dreams lived later, I'm so excited to say that I survived. And you can move past, a dream. And so there are 3 intentions and kind of messages that I continue to carry with myself that I'm going to read out loud, and I encourage you to repeat after me if you feel so. The first is, you get to change your mind. You get to change your mind. Yes. Every ending is an opportunity for a new beginning. Every ending is an opportunity for a new beginning. And you were made for more than just one dream. You were made for more than just one dream. Thank you, everyone.